Hello, people, everyone. Pretty much last night, apparently, because of my rearranging my mic and headset for both settings last night, apparently, when I was actually adjusting it, my terabyte extractor that's actually kept on coming loose, and if I forgot to arrange the audios, which I honestly wasted maybe about an hour's worth of work, somewhere around there, out there to upload. Just trying to cut it and edit some vid put together. So yeah, that happened, and I pretty much made a VTuber learned not to make me cook last night using one of my DPEs without the engine alone for DPE. Overall, let's get straight into match. Today's matches, though, I'm essentially doing a new thing. I'll do the whole vid with the deck at least, so it'd be more simpler, straightforward on the watching parts. And if it's actually got more receptive, I'll immediately keep it as it is for the long majority in the future going forward for deck profiles and what matches I was going for. Now let's get straight into the first deck, which is Albaz in Spade. There's nothing new about the engine entirely. It's still the same as usual. There's not really much difference in the meantime until the next format, until the update happens. So let's get straight into the match. Just since I've gone over to my deck a little bit and I feature in love times where I don't feel like I go through the deck entirely until I make major more improvements and such when a new update happens. So let's do it. First off, it's the Cyberse deck. Does nothing interesting. It's just mostly going to bounce Soul Lord. Essentially to go into your combo pieces. Just easy, basic, cheap deck essentially to build into your links apparently, and that's mostly about it. It's actually most of the deck's Cyberse anyway, as you can tell. It's mostly going to play with the Bounce of Lord in mind, since a lot of pieces are Cyberse, so you can immediately activate a lot more effects. The only thing that isn't Cyberse cards or generic essentially are the Solemns, which are Solemn Strike, Warning, and a basic Judgment, since a lot of people not have 3 Judgments or don't need to in some cases. Since there is a monster that kind of does it better, essentially. Now let's go straight into the match. I can't believe I wasted so much work last night. I was aiming to go over my Twitter feed when I was recording, so last time I was doing this. If regular happened, I said I'd get rid of it. Next up, I didn't expect them to still have common pieces, otherwise I would have maxied much earlier. Since I did not know what deck they're using, I draw into Imperm, which allowed me to get Link Disciple, and I still plus that out since it will special in Splash Range and you can use Splash Range afterwards. Decode happened. Overall, so I play Droplet to get rid of Trisha. Did that. Activate Branded. Mostly didn't realize that effects negated, so I forgot. Decided to do a fusion here. My point, I didn't realize when they activate the effect, since when monster effects activate, discard the same type. Is that pretty much with Brandon Lost, your opponent cannot activate cards effect. The activation of cards that includes the effect that fusion summons and fusion monster is pretty much negated entirely. Since this card is, they should have read it. Otherwise, they would have just not minus entirely. Most of the decks, most of the counters. They realized afterwards, decided I'd play it out. I was just gonna go with Albaz. If they maxed me, I was just gonna fusion Destiny easily. Now let's get straight into the next match. Next deck essentially what they call Adventure Kaiju. Next only, the only hand traps are just 3 cards, which I'm surprised about looking afterwards, including only 1 called by the grave. The upstart, I'm surprised they cracked a lot of stuff, but not going for more generic hand traps they need more of. I feel like you should go call by the graves, then craft your good hand traps like these 3. Like at least these 2 at least. Craft at least 2 of these, since this team might be banned soon. Ash will just go to 3, will stay permanently at 3, so it doesn't matter. Next up, just a lot of kaijus, just go into with some cards that just to mostly kaijus go Santa Claus. Nature Adventure is not much difference, and utilizes on new materials. Next out, just run some kaiju cards that allows them to do a whole bunch of stuff alongside the usual adventure cards. And next only Dimension Wall. Just mostly do something different. Evenly, some budget cards. Next only Metal Slime, which is not surprising. Since it is a good generic card, it can go into Egyptian Gods card Slime. I'm still surprised this card's only ends, since I feel like it should be more of a super, and this should be more like an SAUR at the very least. This next only, since there's so many level 8s they go into, it's not surprising though to take with them most of the pieces and stuff that allows them to rank up. Normally, and next only at Zeus. Next only, just running some generic cards. Now let's get straight into match. Not realize I didn't have that pause. Oh well, doesn't really matter. I thought I pressed my hotkey for it. I decided to do fusion nesting here. Since I can't do much. So I go down here and do that. I should have actually put in Super Poly, but I think it didn't matter. I didn't take spells when I should have actually activated stuff. Decided to touch on Albaz. I decided my opponent's probably gonna attack anything really. And I would have been a different target. So actually I crumbled back to my hand. I could have Super Poly there then, but I figured it was just not worth. This time I decided to do my Super Poly. Take out Alba in my hand. Fusion away my Ghost 2 to go into my Worm. I could have gone into for game maybe, but it wouldn't matter I feel like. Other than surprised I feel strong Magnetic Cylinder though, but outside that, they kind of forgot that card exists. Next only that has me crumble back to hand. So just a minute. Go into normal. Go into a beatdown. I was going to, but my opponent decided to call a surrender just to save some time, I'm guessing. Since it's going to be lethal either way. Next up, let's go to the next match. Next match is against Mathmech with some only 3 hand traps. Essentially the rest are whatever. But it's alright since this deck mostly is trying to make room, mostly more combo pieces being a balance the Lord. To go into your link seeing Seas. With the usual stuff, I don't feel like going over the whole deck. The only thing I'm surprised about is not seeing Call by the Graves, but I did not know how med decks work entirely. Outside this card, since a lot of people like to do it because of what it represents. If you're not 18 plus, that is, you don't know. Or design for that card made a joke. Next up, let's go straight into match now. Since I feel like a lot of people have seen most Mathmech where I don't feel like going over the combos much. I might either get rid of most of my past hands since I'm done with them. I made Discord just for that long, so whatever. My hand bricked a little bit. I was like, yeah, I can still work with this. Go into Imperm. At best I get nothing, but if I do, I get something to work with. So I did not crumble. Go into Albaz, get rid of Despia, go into this, go into a Lobin. Go into a Lobin. Activate his skill, discard 1 card, side draw place no longer needed. Get Mirror Jade. Get a Looper. A Looper gets Branded Fusion. Branded Fusion has to go for lethal. I already had enough for lethal, but I figured, might as well, just for lulz. Just mostly get my fusion dailies more done, I think, or special summon. I don't remember which. Next up, let's go to the next match. Next up, something that's unusual, being contradictory, dinomorphia Albaz Despia. Just running a bunch of cards, including Despia Combini, so your Looper doesn't get affect Imperm or such, or anything. Outside that, they're just running more of they're only running 3 diffusions since you can utilize trios with extra deck, so they're only running about 6 diffusions, so they're only planning to go 3 times either way. The only thing they need to is having the materials for your deck. Otherwise, one of them comes bricks, so they mostly utilize the engine mostly of a lot more, just so they can refocus on fusion back into the extra deck, the pieces for both fusions either way. So it does entirely come a good brick. Outside that, I don't feel like there's nothing explanatory to go over this whole deck. The only things and none that's generic is relinquished. Guardian Chimera, and that's mostly about it. Let's get straight into the match. So this will be the last match for this deck. Anyways, I decided to do that. I was like, my regular combo was something else, so I'll just do a Fusion Destiny to get a lot of them +2 at best. Since I still need material and I'd rather have Maxi still. So I destroy both as well for a daily. A Sorcerer set 2, set normal. End my turn that way. So I trigger anti-spell here. Sorry to get rid of Ash that way. So I have 3 max D this way. If I get Ash, it's whatever, but it allows me to stall. In the sense I get Call by or that. But the only thing they didn't realize is how devastating Brandon loss could be against Dinomorphia. It allows you to negate anything that's a follow-up, and allows you to get rid of this for a quick effect. It's amazing. Big Swordsoul skill, discard Maxi since it's worthless at this point, since I need the hand trap more. Go into Mirror Jade, and I have enough for game. Owen just realized they had nothing for now entirely, and next time that was game otherwise. Sorry about the mic, I was readjusting my headset. And this is why I'm investing in a mic pretty much sometime either this or the following month. After some Yu-Gi-Oh! Digimon upgrades. First off, in the TG, mind you. This is my brand Dog Magician deck. There isn't anything else different compared to my normal brand. The only difference is that I'm running DPE. Otherwise, I'll slide some more cards towards generic wise to go into especially link wise. Outside that, a lot of it's my only thing. Next up, pretty much a lot of stuff mostly is to go into the other fusions more easily. Without DP, it's more consistent, but I'd rather have a backup agent of sorts if I break a lot, but this is what the deck does anyway, and that's the reason why my main backup as a looper, since most of the deck's dragging away and utilize some stuff, I decided to work with it. Also, fun fact, Maxis can work into a mod special on your opponent's turn, which is hilarious. Now, let's get straight into the match, since a lot of people should know Dark Magician. I would run 2 if possible, but I'd rather stick for 1 since you go into the Mirror Jade anytime you want to go into Refusion in a way. So it works. Now let's get straight into the match like I was saying. Next only is a Critias Blue Eyes deck, essentially utilizing non-law materials that say the spells to go into this research. Removal and source was back to square one, which is a structure deck of sorts from the beginning, with Mallet just to plus mostly rearrange their hand. The game plans go with Maiden, go into White Stones, next only hit 1 of each since you're not trying to focus more going to Critias both times, with the Blue Eyes mostly being a tech option for this card. Overall, I didn't understand the card. Next time you had running multiple Mirror Forces. The regular Mirror Force makes sense. Quaking doesn't. Running is whatever, but I feel like you should just run 2 of both, I feel like, more, since both are okay. Destiny Rivals just negate, so it's more like a 1 or 2 of. So not surprising. Mirror Force Launcher is okay. Outside that, we're supposed to get straight to match. Honestly, not a whole lot of hand shots going for his deck. I feel like it's going to be not tier heavy, probably mid at best, I feel like, for deck. Man, I really gotta adjust my volume constantly for some stuff. Hand-wise, my hand was alright. I decided to go Magician. Just some Blue Eyes. Special Summon Dark Magician. Sorry, I'm just focusing on Dark. So I'm still focusing on what the heck I did first match. Downside is they can attack me since this thing, if I recall right. Okay, yeah, they just didn't attack me for no reason. So play, so I go to Register Circle. Get into hand. Destined Rivals. Set Albaz. Discard Destined Rivals. And if it was anything else, I wouldn't care. Mirror Jade. Quaking happened, I was like, are you kidding me? Luckily, I had a removal soul being form of Ash. Decided to go into Magician's Rod. Add Magician's Salvation. The only thing I forgot set was the fusion card. Explorer Dragonfire, I was like, what the heck is this card? Decided to draw. I decided to Ash it since the +2 would have been red, and especially afterwards they would have been draw all 4 again. Right, I have a few. Decided to special Dark Magician, and this is why I waited to special evade it at all. Middle skill, I would have added to the hand, opponent surrender here because they had no more outs, and figured I'd probably have game afterwards. Now let's go to the next match. For this time, my next deck. Next up, I should go my Labrynth Deck. There isn't much difference between this in my current one in the moment. There is a little bit more difference than you think, but overall it's the regular, pretty much more budget friendly of Labrynth, which is mostly using a lot more less URs, essentially no hand traps whatsoever. What's the only stuff being like Lightning Storm, with the only UR being Lightning Storm, with only selected Calico Pulver the lovelies. Next up, not a lot of URs going into the set yet, since I'm still running out of fumes on it, since I'm mostly looking at multiple decks being Runic, and this as well, and possibly upgrade my Cyber Dragons, which I'm still waiting for some feedback on. Still. Now, let's go. My pure build of the next one will be... Forgot I had to update and mostly include anti-spell. Will just be more or less the same with no removal in the back row, but just be on to pure destruction and some cards like this. Mostly for a more meta setting version deck. Otherwise, French I might have 2 variants, one for spell trap removal, one for this, and still utilizing back and forth. With some stuff I'm still going to add, where being Elder Entity, Side Frame Overlord, Frame Lord. Now I burn Unicorn, being genetic I still need, and lower the Heavily, which I'm debating on, but this is mostly the top build, and it's gonna be released worth it a little bit. Now let's get straight into the match. It's just a regular plain old deck with the whole, both essentially Fluffles, Fluffle Edge Imp, mostly a patch up and get some fusion cards more easily to draw cards. With only being 3 hand traps, which is surprisingly, with the 4 being this. It's more like a new player kind of deck, since they're mostly craft a whole lot of stuff that are generic for URs. I feel like that are better, or they built it crafting this whole deck since this deck's out of place. And the only other stuff being like Forbidden Droplets, this, which pretty much about 3 and 5 range actually you get to skip for a bundle when crafting. So let's get straight into the match. Overall, not branded in Super Volley, so it's more budget friendly and looks like it since they're a new player. Most of the stuff's in the same set in that pack, so it doesn't matter. So outside that, they only had craft like maybe a handful. Let's get straight into the match this time for real. Overall, let's get straight into the match. Something about that. I know big minds. I decided to get it in my hand. Set 2. If I can get this on the field, I probably easier time. I decided to do into this. The only stuff they could have stopped me is if they have a Labrynth card. An Albaz card, I mean. Happy so this would have been good, so I decided to add my trap now, meaning welcome. Decided to go straight into beatdown. Go into with boost gun mostly so I can nerf around everything else. Decided to go into welcome. I decided to go in branded red. But it won't matter pretty soon as we'll find out. Masquerade would not matter. Since it's a passive one, it doesn't let me gain life points. Hibiscus sends both sets down. Next up, I activate 10% virus to get rid of every single spell card in the field. That thing will still go in defense mode. Bring back Lovely. Lovely sets it back face down. Opponent has no outs entirely in hand to mostly work with. Any spell they draw is going to be a brick from now on. The Hibiscus Strain is going straight into attacks. With Torrent still being an option and they got spells removal. I essentially got Harvey Spell that's just set already. Overall, that's the end of this Despia Albaz, which I'm happy about since I did not think I could probably play through with that opening I had. Let's go straight into the next and final deck, David. Next up, our next deck, which is essentially DPE with Traptrix. Nothing unusual here. I still play more Ashes though, but I figured I pretty much have Gravekeeper's Triple, which essentially allows me to do much more negates. I still play Call By during my turn at least, so I can set up everything I could potentially need. Outside that, you mostly play more traps in this deck. Otherwise, French, you might just do this round without DPE. Which I'm planning to potentially build because of just playing for Alderish at least. Try to at least get one copy or two. Everything else B+. Overall, I'm still missing some of the overall generics I need for a deck, being Traptrix Olympus. And I'll probably craft this, and I still need Underworld, which is a good Link 5 I need. Overall, there's just not much mean to me to build a deck in the meantime. Maybe in the future, at least sometime soon, since I have everything else from this deck I copied. Except for the Xyz and the Alderish. And I'm thinking mostly going back into the Traptrix pack soon anyway. So once I get more gems, since I was trying to build Welcome, since I need more pure destruction special and traps in mind, so I figured it's the better deck for me time. Now let's get straight into the matches for it. Next up, we're playing Heroes. I don't feel like going into it, since a lot of people should know the Heroes at this point. They're mostly run a bunch of hero cards. With the only enchant routes being 6 cards, with essentially 8 being with Call by the Grave, with just 1 impermanent and a bunch of droplets they could probably crafted. Personally, I might just make my second droplet sometime soon, since I already have my imperms, so I don't feel like I need much more hand shots in the meantime. Let's go straight into deck match. Okay, I gotta admit, freeze up, it's always funny to me. I thought I pressed B, and I was like thinking the right word. Wow. Thought I pressed my Hellkey first. Whole beating hand wise, I was like, I could probably break with this. But I was like, my opponent could get +1 since I might need Syria. I figured it was worth it. Set 2, and then my turn here. In my hand, I was like, I got Max C, I got this, I have some stuff to work with. If they don't have the Ash, I would be like, it's whatever. Activate Chain Hole to get another one off the deck, so I don't have to deal with one. Next on I did this. Opponent just activates red droplet. I made a minus two cards. Press 1, activate Chain Hole, Traptrix Chain Hole. So I had to deal with it. I wasted a Max C, which I'm sad about, but I was like, it's whatever at this point. Decided to go into Traptrix Deck. The top deck's what helped me save this match, personally. Domana gets me this, go into Verte, go straight into Phoenix Enforcer, which was my only fusion. I decided I would normally just try to do distraction, but I don't need it. Then I decided to go DP this. If my opponent has Call to the Grave, it's whatever. Opponents discards the other first, and I was like, yeah, no. Essentially, I'm just burning them down. I'm happy about it. Opponents had a pass, and I was like, yeah, I need to end this game now. I still have one more out, and inform my own denier. Since I can still special summon it. Gets rid of this. Next up, go for attack for game. Overall, it's an amazing match, and I'm suddenly glad I got done with my arch nemesis. I can play through branded with the red cards in a way, but heroes is where I never had the red cards, and I still nib a hand, and they managed to pop off somehow, like they're going to next turn. Overall, I was pretty happy about it. Now let's go straight into the next match. The next match is essentially Therion mixed in with Ursarctic, which are just cards that allow them to draw cards by utilizing this, and also distribute special easily, so they can go into links or fusions a lot easier since Ursarctic are tuners monsters, for understand. As well, and most of the Therions are either level 7 or level 8 for most of the part. So you can trade in if you feel like it, with the only one being substituted is Therion's irregular. Overall, there's not much. They have run everything they possibly need hand shot wise, especially the evilings. Now let's get straight into the match. I didn't understand actually Ursarctic or Therion's play there. All I know is that Therions just mostly target themselves or a specific type of monster in the grave that like I know one I need for my machines. The Ursarctic I don't know to explain totally. My hand was pricked and I was like, I'll pass this way. I pretty much need to destroy cards at that point. I signed Ash them since they will be -2 either way, and I was like, I'm not going to pull through. Call by the guy happened, I was like, yeah, I got something to work with. Sadly, pretty much because timing wise, I cannot activate my trap pull. I trap it and I figure turn isn't worth it unless I draw something that's immune to it. Decided to go into Traptrix 3. Activate Torrent. This is where I pretty much should be happy enough to get an Ash from. Decided to go to beat down. My point, they have anything to work with most of the part. But then I realized the spell card actually allows them to special attribute. I decided to blockade triple them. Decided I got rid of another Ash. I was like, how many Ashes do they have in hand? Overall, I bricked a little bit, so I decided to update my trap pull figures. Next, only set some cards finally. Traptrix. And then pretty much actually just goes vanilla from here. As you tell, I'm not going to because this is just boring explaining. And next time my opponent's like, yeah, I give up at this point because it's just going nowhere and I don't want to tag it for effects at this point since I know it is. So it's not worth it. Now let's go straight into the next match. And I don't feel like explaining what my process for, like, I have nothing to out it. Maybe once I get Time Thief in my hand, I might, but that's a when, not an if when. Our next deck is Therion. There's nothing unusual about it. Since I pretty much, like I was saying previously, you either target a Therion monster or one archetype of the type monster, either the archetype of their own or a specific type, like Aqua monsters. And effects activate during your opponent's turn for the most part, or activate during your turn, or specifically in time pretty much. Overall, there's like no way outs around it most of the time. Once they get some of their cards in the grave whatsoever, and it's only runs the Punk cards just to play it through the special afterwards during your opponent's turn, mostly so to have additional outs. It's just not fully built from the looks of it. Let's get straight into the match. Overall, my hand was like, yeah, it's made at least. I decided to add the Traptrix Murray, Veg Ash, or Imperms, whatever. Add Trap Pull. Since I figured it was at least the better card to choose from. They have properties Featherless in my mind, it's whatever. Decided the punk cards. Decided to negate it. Labrynth got back trouble for next turn. And then since I've done that, I can set one more trap. My opponent decided not to play through it since they're probably new to the deck, which was my thoughts probably. But I could be wrong. Or it's just their first time playing through this deck or against Traptrix in general. And now for our final match with Swordsoul, which they should be running the aggressive look screeners point because of how much this deck has a bunch of stuff. They should have been running 2 Moes, 3 Moes, 3 towers. 3 this, since you could go into your targets much more faster and it's an easy special tuner. That's generic. They could be running this, but probably around 2. The crossover is alright. Mystical stay fat soon. Heavily Dragon Circle. These 2 can go, these 2 can go, this can stay I guess, but these 2 can go. So that's about 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10 cards. That'll be at least 46, but at least be much more easier, more consistent. Nibiru can stay I guess. They could be running 2 of the Critias. These 2 specifically. The tuner can stay at 1 I guess, so they could go into Link 9 easily. I mean, Synchro to 9. Sorry, my thought process was well, I was just looking at links, sadly. The triple Texas can stay, I guess, but aside that, they should be running Swordsoul Blackout at least 1 or 2. Personally, Red Reboot can stay, I guess. Swordsoul's Emergent should always be running a 3 personally, so that doesn't matter. But seriously, they can make do without 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 cards already, and it's an easy dub. Wild Desires just pops off for Swordsoul Sovereign at least, so it's easy movable during your turn or crossout, so you got 4 targets to work with. Callback Grave just gives you additional 6 targets at least during your turn without utilizing effects like Swordsoul Chassis, which they should just be running grass like Screener's Point. And play at least 1 more of at least Archnum Protoss, I think. Personally, I think. I could be wrong. Next up, they could probably lower max Cs by 1 as well, so it has these 45 cards, but it's more consistent during your turn to pop off, as you realize during this match. Personally, I don't run necessary cards unless I'm running like 5 couple card combos, being Anti-Spell Mind with DP, since I can activate during the standby phase. First off, I got Traptrix. If they asked me, I was like, whatever. It's just a bait, since I already have my most useful hand trap. Since I mostly want to get the Ash instead as a parallel mine. Gun Plant. First that goes as Infusion Destiny. Infusion Destiny destroys both Hit and Verte, so I can actually get them to my dailies. As you realize, set 2 and pass. DP revives. That's also I decided Ash it. Called by the Grave. Then I was like, okay, so I'll have to deal with Ash Predator in turn. But I can still deal with most other hand traps. Swordsoul Heavens. I was like, yeah, let's destroy both of them. If he revives, they should basically call it the grave. As you can see, if they just had a couple cards off, they could have had more combos to work with. I decided Imperm was a wasted card at this point. I decided to destroy my punch card. Max needs a brick. Side add Traptrix. Traptrix me. Next one I got Ash. The next one I was like, yeah, great for the triple. So now I just need one more monster to do it, and I decided I don't need any more links at this point. I decided to get rid of. I should have got rid of Imperm. That allows me to set one triple. Deny seals the game. Nib happens. I was like, yeah, I should have played around that much more easier. I feel like I should have played around the Nib more, but I didn't realize that it would actually be my way out. Point doesn't realize I can just go quick fix that during my turn. They forgot about it. Decided to be flag a triple. They decided to negate the cards while it's face up. I decided to import it since they can't not target now. Next up, testing your fixed Swordsoul allows me to do that. Set 1 just in case to activate anything in hand that specials or such. I decided to check my break-off limits since they might have gone to turn me eventually at one point or another. So I decided to destroy it, my break-off, since this might use this way. Next up I decided to try pull since it doesn't matter. Next one that just seals the game. I decided to go straight into attack. Overall, the whole theme is debricked a little bit. Never go below 46 cards entirely for a deck unless it's something like Skull Servants or cards that need to activate cards that embody them a little, like Phantom Knights of Mind. So it works out. Next time, I hope pretty much actually you like the revised version of my video. Pretty much for my new format as I decided to do it. I hope pretty much you like, comment, subscribe if you like it or such, and follow me. And you can follow me, it's freely, there's nothing you're taking do, there's nothing that's going to affect you, it's completely free. Follow me on Twitter if you feel like it, because I post updates here once in a while a lot of stuff that happens immediately, like stuff changes immediately. I hope pretty much have a good rest of the day or night wherever you are. Peace.